Hey YouTube land, Tycondrius there, doing another action figure review. Now today I'm going to do two figures in one go. Well, not to try and, bite off more than I can chew, but because they're both human characters from the same line, I said I'd do them both together. So they're both from the Hammond Collection, and they are Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. Ian Malcolm. I now have the boxes behind them switched around, so they should be this way, but we'll have a quick look at the boxes. The boxes for the most part are the same except for the contents obviously and names. So, and then I will get into the figures and just lay them down there for a second while I bring in the boxes. So you can see they share exact same design work for the characters. The only difference is you have the names for the characters in the corner. Obviously the window display will have the figures in them and you'll have all their accessories. You have a Hammond Collection on one side and an image of the character on the other. So flip around, you have the Ian Malcolm figure and the Grant figure, and then on the back you have the Ian Malcolm figure, which I think the digital rendering or whichever way they did this for the figure on the back looks pretty bad. It looks like he has a weird little mustache thing going on, goatee mustache, which I don't believe he actually had in the film. But yeah, it looks like he has like a weird little small mustache thing going on, and he has the glasses. And then for Grant is kind of similar. He looks like he's wearing pink lipstick, which is kind of weird. The figure itself doesn't really have that look to it. And then you have an image, which is funny, is they try to recreate the scene from the film that's on the back of the box, and you can see it's like he doesn't have the sunglasses on in that scene. The figure actually has the sunglasses. Now, I haven't checked to see if they're removable, but if they're anything like the older figures, you're left with a kind of big hole on either side of the heads where the glasses plug in. So, and then you have a little brief bio or a little brief caption. So, during his visit to Jurassic Park, Dr. Ian Malcolm's expertise in chaos theory comes to light when, in a painfully personal way. And then Ian frees. It's clear that holding an infant, it's clear that holding an infant velociraptor is far from the only surprise that awaits Dr. Alan Grant on his treacherous tour of Jurassic Park. And then on the bottom is all the legalese stuff. And on the top is that kind of, I think it's supposed to represent the case or the crate that they bring the velociraptor in the first film. And then you have the Jurassic Park logo. Pretty much that is it for the boxes. So I'm just leaving to the side there, and we'll get cracking on the figures. So now, this is actually my second version of Ian Malcolm. My first version actually had a QC issue, which I will get into. But for the most part, he has a ball jointed waist, which is kind of nice. He has some nice looks. He has the jacket on. He has these arms, can rotate around, can move out the side. Has a single hinge with a swivel. Has a wrist swivel and a hinge. He comes with an alternate pair of hands, which are supposed to be his undershirt. You can actually see, I'm not sure if it's showing on camera, but this outer shirt is actually a slightly different color. It's not black like his undershirt. It's like a slightly off gray black, kind of browny black. And so it is supposed to be represent a different material. So he does come with these hands that are kind of more outstretched on his alternate hands. You can swap those out. You just pull them out at the wrist and swap them out. I'm not going to do that on screen because I want to get through this as quickly as possible. The only other accessory he comes with is a flare, which is to represent the flare that he used in the movie. Now, his legs can split this much. When you have the coat on, it is hindered, but when you have the coat off, it doesn't hinder it that much. He has kick forward, not much kick back because of the pant sculpt. He has dual hinge knees, which is quite nice. There's no upper thigh swivel. He does have ball jointed or swivel legs with a hinge forward and back, and there is peg holes on the bottom of his feet. And his head is on a ball joint, so it can go side to side. There's not much up and down on it. The up and down really comes from the waist, but you can rotate his head. And I'll just pop him there for a second. Just bear with me one moment. I'm just grabbing something off screen, which I nearly forgot to bring in. So he does have the other arms. Here's my other version of him, and as I said, with the waistcoat gone, it doesn't hinder that leg split, and he has all the same articulation when he has the other arms on. Same elbow joint with swivel, same wrists articulation. You can still swap the wrists out on this one and give him the kind of more flat palms. Now this is the one that I had the issue with. This is my first one. When I was popping the hand out, this whole peg, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, snapped, and there's actually a QHC issue there where there's a split on the plastic. The peg is very kind of gummy, but the joint is really solid. So when I was popping the arm off, I do recommend holding it up here by the actual arms instead of what I did, which was pull it from about down here, and it just snapped that peg straight off. And I was literally, after I bought him, or after it arrived from the post, I wanted to swap out the arms, see what it was like, and then in doing so, unfortunately, the peg snapped. So yeah, I do have two Malcolms now, so thankfully I can use one. I don't have to swap out the arms, so I can use one as either version. And then for comparison, here's the first version of Malcolm, which is the Legacy Collection version. So you can see the heads are almost identical, almost, not quite. I'd say they look somewhat similar. Sculpt wise, there's not much difference between the one without the overcoat on. The main difference is the shoes on the Legacy Collection seems to be a grey, whereas he has black boots with the kind of I'm not sure, I wouldn't call it a heel spur type thing, but he has that detail going around the side of the boot. He still has the watch. He has less articulation. The waist is just a swivel waist instead of the ball joint like the new one. He has none of the wrist articulation and none of the double jointed knee stuff. Like what they are, the Legacy Collection ones were quite nice, but he is different to the Legacy, and similar thing with Grant when we get on to Grant. So here is Grant in all his glory. He too comes with that same little flare. Now he does come with a good few other accessories that Ian doesn't come with. So he comes with an alternate head, which has, as I said, those sunglasses. His hat is actually a lot more detailed. In fact, I'm just going to pop the head off. Hopefully it'll be a straightforward affair. He comes with the hat actually on in packaging. So if I just bring in the older version, this is the Legacy version, you can see there is a good bit of difference in colors. The shirt is more of a pastel blue on this one, whereas the original one looked kind of more like a jeans kind of denim kind of look. The shirt actually has detailing sculpted onto it. It's kind of hard to see. You also have the logo, or the emblem logo and all that on the back of this guy's shirt, where you don't have it on this one. All the logos and stuff are just alright. This guy was made in Vietnam apparently. I think all the detailing is pretty much on the bottom of the feet, where it isn't for this one. Peg holes. The shoes actually have tread on the side of them. He has light tan boots instead of the dark brown. His trousers are a lot more beige, or are a lot more tan. Similar with Malcolm, he has the same articulation. Arms can rotate around, hinge out that much, swivel at the elbow, single jointed elbow, rotate at the wrist. Head is on a ball joint. You kind of get a little bit more range of movement on Grant's. Likeness wise, I'm still not too sure which one looks more like Sam Neill. Excuse me. I'm still not sure which one looks more like Sam Neill, even with the alternate head on. Just pop the head off, and it kind of, from a distance maybe, it's hard to tell. I still think the Legacy Collection version head looks a little bit more. Now I don't have the other Legacy version that they released, which was the one based on Jurassic Park 3, which I think was just a repaint of this figure anyway, but I don't have that. I only have this version. He comes with two other alternate hands. So he comes with I just put the other accessory into his hand. He comes with a gloved hand, which is supposed, oh, it's a white hand, but it's supposed to represent the glove, the medical glove that he's holding when he picks up the raptor from that one scene. And he's holding the raptor and going, what species is this? That is the iconic scene that he has. And then the other thing that he has, which I'm going to pop out his hand for and pop it in, because it's quite hard to see on screen, is he has his iconic Raptor Claw. So if you have a figure of one of the kids from it probably works as a good stand-in for that kid from the dig site. You can have him threatening the kid with the Raptor Claw, saying, you know, the 6-foot turkey is still out in force today, and, you know, slashes at you with this a giant claw on his toe. So he has the Raptor Claw, which is kind of cool. It's sculpted into the hand. It's painted, so just be wary of that. It's not a separate piece as far as I can tell, so you won't end up losing it unless you lose the whole hand in total entirely. But it is nice that it is there. So again, Grant has the same articulation in the hips, so can do splits, forward, knee joints, double knee joints, which are quite tight on mine because I haven't actually used his knee joints yet, really. He does have the double knee joints. He does have the same feet joint. He is a little bit more hindered on the leg because of the pants, the way they're sculpted. Ian's wasn't as bad as that, but he does have that, and he does have the waist swivel. And I said you can go into seating position, and that is why I kind of popped off the screen there for a sec. I forgot to bring in one of these. Now this is the older one. This is one of the Jeep Wranglers from, I think it was Legacy line that did it first. So I know he didn't sit in the front, but for the Ian, Malcolm and Grant, you can have them sitting in this quite easily. Now, I don't have the Explorer easy to hand. It'll take ages to dig it out, but I would imagine they sit quite nicely in the Explorer. So if you have two of the Explorers from that T-Rex Escape set, you can have both Grant and Malcolm sitting together as they watch the carnage unfold, or you can have them standing outside it and have them with the flares when they're trying to distract the Rex. So, and just for, I should have brought one of the Rexes around, so bear with me a moment and I'll see if I can dig out a Rex and we can bring it in for review, or not review, into the review. Okay folks, sorry about that. I went and got the Rex from the Legacy Escape set, and I'm only realizing now that she's quite large, so I'll have to put her in a different direction. I know she's blocking the screen, but we'll get Malcolm's and Grant's here in a second. Bear with me a moment. So you can see scaling. You can get her to sit in the screen. She's a little bit off, and then I'm going to rotate her around and get her a bit better. That's a bit better. You see most of her for the most part. You can see how Grant and Hammond Collection Grant and Malcolm fit up. Now this is not the Hammond Collection Rex. I do have the Hammond Collection Rex coming at some point. This is the one from the, I think it's called the Legacy T-Rex Escape set. It's the one that came with the Explorer, the Rex, Tim, and that was pretty much it. But it was a exclusive set over here. I'm not sure if it was exclusive in the States, but you can see she stands quite nicely with the human characters from that set. All in all, they're really cool figures. Unfortunately, now here's the bad side of things. From what I can tell, now this is just at the time of this recording, it may change in the future, I don't know, but for some reason Mattel has decided to pull most of the Hammond Collection line stuff from Europe. I'm not sure if it's a distribution issue because they're trying to get their stuff over to cover the States and get the stuff back that they had already sent out. A lot of places in the EU have gotten messages from Mattel cancelling from their distributors cancelling Hammond Collection stuff that was due out at some point, and saying that they're no longer going to be bringing it. So I don't know if it's a supply chain issue, or maybe it's just an issue in general that they're not going to be doing it over here, and just keeping with the kind of the Fallen Kingdom style stuff. I don't know, but I got these guys from Big Bad Toy Store. They are up on the Amazon US site. I don't know if they're on any of the other Amazon sites. I know I had one figure pre-ordered on the Amazon site, and I don't know if it's been cancelled or not, but we'll have to wait and see. But overall, they are good figures. I do recommend picking them up. The basic human figures are reasonably cheap. They were only $15 for the figures, which isn't too bad. And the smaller dinosaurs are around 15. The larger ones do vary in prices, like the Rex, the larger version of the Rex, I think is the most expensive one so far, coming in at 50. So, but if they do other larger creatures, like if they do a Hammond Collection Spinosaurus, which would be sweet, that I could see that being a little bit more pricey. But overall, really good figure, really good figures. They do stack well with other lines as well. So if I just bring in the Batman here, so you have Batman, Armor Tech Batman, and we have Owen Grady from the kind of standard line, so they do kind of fit in well with those. But overall, not a bad figure set, and all the extra stuff is pretty good. Just as I said, be careful with the Ian Malcolm figure when you're swapping out the hands. I did have that QC issue with mine where the whole joint just snapped straight out of the box. Well, not straight out of the box. When I was swapping out the hand, it just snapped off. But thankfully, Big Bad Toy Store were able to get me a replacement one, or send me a replacement. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.